This is Ms. DB. In this video, we are going to look at how to solve inequalities with the distributive property. So sometimes we have to first simplify one or both sides of an inequality before solving. And one of the things you might have to do in simplifying is to use the distributive property. You might also have to combine like terms. Sometimes you need to do one of these, sometimes both. So here's our steps. First, if you can do the distributive property, go ahead and do that first. Step 2 would be to combine any like terms on each side of the inequality symbol. And again, that's not always needed, but it might be. Step 3 is to undo what is being added or subtracted to the variable, and we do that by using inverse operations. Step 4 is to undo what is being multiplied to or divided by the variable using inverse operations. And then for step 5, write the inequality graph if you need to. Check your work. That's what's in the last step there. So let's look at this example that's already been done. Grab a pen here. So we have the inequality -4 times, and then there's this parentheses here, 2 minus x, and then close parentheses, and it says less than or equal to 8. So the parentheses tell us that we are going to need to do the distributive property right there. So what we do is we take the number on the outside of the parentheses and we're going to multiply it by each term on the inside of the parentheses. So -4 times 2, and then -4 times -x. And then we'll keep the less than or equal to 8. So -4 times 2, and then -4 times -x. And then we simplify this multiplication. So -4 times 2 is -8. That's how we got that. And -4 times -x would be a positive or a plus 4x, less than or equal to 8. So we did step 1, and now we're going to check if we can do step 2, which is to combine like terms. But there's no like terms on the left side because this one has an x and this one doesn't. And there's no like terms on the right side, so we don't have to do that step in this one. So then we move to step 3, which is to undo what is being added or subtracted from the variable. And we have a -8 here, a -8, and to undo that, you would add 8, because -8 plus 8 is 0. So we add 8 here, and we add 8 here. And those cancel because that's 0, so we get 4x is less than or equal to 8 plus 8 is 16. And then we have step 4 is to undo what is being multiplied, and it's 4 times x, and the opposite would be to divide by 4, so you divide both sides by 4, and that leaves you with x is less than or equal to 4. Remember, if I did divide by a negative, I would have to switch the inequality sign around, but I didn't have to in this one. And then the last step, if you need to, graph the solution. The directions on this one did say to graph, so I would put a solid dot at 4, and I would want all the numbers to the left of it, so right there. There is another example on the worksheet, and you can follow along with this one. This one, you will do step 2, combining the like terms, because there will be 2 terms that are both constants, so you can add them together. All right, I'm going to go ahead and look at one of the problems from your worksheet. Let's look first at number 3. So on number 3, it says 3 times parentheses -1x minus 6, and then close parentheses is greater than 12. There's a hint here, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the first thing you're going to do is check and see if you can use the distributive property, and we can because we have that parentheses there. So we're going to multiply 3 times -1x, and then we have 3 times -6, because 3 times -6, and that is greater than 12. Then we simplify that. 3 times -1x would be -3x, and 3 times -6 would be a -18, so I'm going to write -18 there to simplify this, and that's greater than 12. Now there is no like terms on this one because on the left side we have an x term and a constant term with no x, so we can't combine those. And on the right term we just have 12. So our next step is to undo what's being subtracted, which is that minus 18, and the opposite of minus 18, the inverse operation would be to add 18. So now I get negative 3x is greater than 12 plus 18, and you can use your calculator if you need to, but 2 plus 8 is 10, and you'd carry the 1, and you would get 30 here. So now we're ready for the last step, which is to undo what is being multiplied or divided to the variable's x, and it's being multiplied by negative 3. So I would undo that by dividing by negative 3. And when I divide negative 3 by negative 3, that cancels. So I'm left with x is, oh, here's where I need to remember the hint. If I divide by a negative, which I did, I divided by a negative 3, I need to reverse the inequality sign. It was greater than, so now I'll have less than negative 10. So my final answer here, got a little squish there, is x is less than negative 10. Now the directions on this, you don't have to graph. So you can just leave your answer then as x is less than negative 10. Let's do one more problem. Let's see if we can find one where there might be some more things to combine. Let's do number 7. I'm going to give myself a little more space. So on number 7, we are first going to look and see that we can do the distributive property because we have parentheses here. So I'm going to take negative 2 times y, and I'm just going to go ahead and write that as negative 2y, because negative 2 times y would be negative 2y. And then we have negative 2 times negative 3. Negative 2 times negative 3 is equal to a positive 6. So I'm going to save a little space and just write plus 6 here. And then we still had a plus 12y. We're going to write that down, and we're going to write the greater than 16. So you keep writing your whole equation, just simplify each part as you go. Now we're going to look for like terms, because I see that on the left side I have a negative 2y and a plus 12y. You can write those next to each other to make sure that you see that they're like terms, or you can combine them in your head and skip this step. So now I see that I have negative 2y plus 12y. Negative 2 plus 12 is a positive 10. So I have 10y plus 6 is greater than 16. And now we're ready for step 3, which is to undo what is being added, or I'm trying to get my mouse back. I need to undo this plus 6. So the opposite of adding 6 would be to subtract 6, and you would get 10y, the 6's cancel, is greater than 16 minus 6 is 10. And then step 4 is to undo what's being multiplied to both sides. So I would undo the multiplying by 10 by dividing by 10, and I end up with y is greater than 10 divided by 10 is 1. I didn't have to switch the inequality because I divided by a positive number. So the final step then was to write your inequality. We don't need to graph, so that would be it for this one. So that's how to do a couple problems on this worksheet. If you have any questions, you can meet with me during my office hours, or you can email me to let me know you have more questions. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.